All right, guys, welcome to week three. We're going to talk about how we learn to understand our consumer. So we left off on what you guys did for your first assignment was that you developed an organization and you developed a mission and some values. But now, as you start to develop your marketing plan, the first thing you have to do is you have to understand who your consumers are. So I gotta ask some questions like who are my consumers now? Who do they used to be? Who are they in the future? Where do they live? How are they exposed to my product? When? Why? Um, how and why did they get involved with my product? And if they're committed, why? If they lost commitment, why? These are all questions I have to ask. And I have to look beyond basic demographics. Okay, I have to look at environmental factors, individual factors for why people are our fans or our customers. And so, a lot of people speculate that socialization has a lot of this to do with it, guys. And what socialization is just a process for where how people develop their knowledge, their attitude, their skills about a certain organization, a certain sport, a certain product. And it can be through behavior, through cognitive, or through affective involvement. Um, but understand that what it comes down to commitment. And it looks, how often, how much intensity, how much are people willing to spend money and energy to come be our fan? Okay, that doesn't mean if we're selling a shoe or we're running a softball program. We have to understand the types of ways people become involved and the commitment that they have to each one and to each product that they have. And so there are a lot of environmental factors that play a role in this. Sometimes it's the people we come to games with, our significant others. It could be where we grew up, our culture. It could be our class, our race, our gender, sexuality. Could be our culture within a global market. It could be, it could be being drawn to a sport because of how the sport is, how it's played. So we have to try the best to understand the people that are our fans and the people we want to be our fans. Understand, like I said, significant others play a huge role in socializing people. A lot of people become interested in a sport because of their family or a coach or a teacher or friends. Um, and a lot of people become lifelong fans based on those interactions they have when they're young. From a cultural standpoint, some of the sports we're in products that we're fond of have to do where we live. So, for instance, people who grow up in kind of mountainous type areas are more likely to ski. People from up north are more likely to be engaged in like hockey than people down south. People down south are more likely to like auto racing than people up north. So we have to understand those things. The social class that we grow up in, our income, our education, occupation, those things make a deal. So they make a difference. So you look at kind of the upper ranks of society. Golf, yachting, polo is very popular. But then you look at middle America and you're going to see them very fond of sports like basketball, football, baseball. Again, we have to understand these things. And then obviously race and ethnicity plays a big deal. And every sport has struggled, and every product somewhat struggles, if it's old enough, with dealing with discrimination. And we have to understand that what athletes play our sport, and we have to understand how to move a different type of people or a different race of people or a different gender of people into our organization and to become our fan. As far as gender sexuality goes, women are much more involved in the sport market than people think. Okay, female are a huge force of attendance in football, indoor soccer, auto racing, and there's a whole lot of differences between how males and females perceive sports. Um, Males care about different things. Okay, They're more, look at sport as an escape. They focus on the aesthetic part of it. Females are highly motivated by family. Things like cleanliness, seating, that will be more important to them according to research. And then also we have to look at what stage of life people are in. Okay, the organizations you're attracted to when you're in adolescence through college is going to be different than when you're married. Okay, or the way you can consume sports is going to be different when you're single versus when your kids have left the nest or you're retired. So each of these transitions in life is another opportunity to make somebody a fan of our organization. And then how people learn, the process for how people learn. How do they come about knowing about our organization? Did they learn about softball because they played softball? Did they learn about football because they grew up watching their dad watch it on Sundays? And the more fans know about a sport and understand it, the more willing they are to spend money on it. And then there's the perception that we're trying to overcome. Understand that people care about how a sporting event takes place when they attend it. They want it to be clean. They don't want it to be exposed to violence. They don't want to waste their time. And you have to be cognizant of how to present your organization or sport in a way that attracts families and the most amount of people. And then obviously there's the motivation. What is somebody's motivation to even care about a sport? Okay, is it for fitness? Is it for fun? Is it for they're attracted to the people that play it? Is it an escape? Is it entertainment? We have to know those kind of things. And so in order for us to know this about our organization, we have to conduct research. And understand market research is just learning about our customers. Okay, we're wanting to not only learn about how they care or how they interact with our sport, but we have to learn to use technology in a way to help us make more decisions and use data to make more decisions. And so there's a lot of way you can get data. There's some data that's already collected and organized for you. So for instance, you can look at TV ratings. You can know at what age people watch your event, how often they watch it. All that stuff can be packaged for you. But then you can do custom research. This is research where we come up with a plan and we figure out how we're going to conduct research to learn more about what people, how people perceive our organization. And so that could be quantitative type research where we do like surveys and we collect that data and analyze it statistically, or it could be qualitative where we ask people to come in and be part of phone chats, be part of focus groups, do interviews with us. The goal, no matter what it is to get the answers to what we want to know. And so once we make the decision to learn about our customer and we make the decision to collect research, that allows us to segment our market. And what that is, guys, this is dividing a big group of people into smaller groups. Okay, and there's a ton of different ways you can do this. Understand, most organizations do not have the time, money, manpower to market to everybody. So we're trying to narrow that down to a smaller group of people that we're trying to target with ticket packages and with advertising and marketing. And in order for it to be a good segment for us, a good segment to market to, we have to, one, be able to identify it and see who it is. They have to be accessible to us, meaning we have to be able to reach them, and they have to be responsive to what it is we're going to put out there. And so when we start to segment it, we can look at a couple of different ways. We can look at demographics, age, race, gender. We can look at psychographic stuff, which is like spending habits, how people socialize around the sport. We can look at the benefits of the products they get, and we can look at how often they use it. So I covered a lot. That's usually 3 lectures kind of jammed into one, guys, but Your second assignment, which I'll post later this week, is going to ask you kind of how you're going to do that for your organization.